Hello and welcome back to Nerds Amalgamated. I'm the Professor and my co-host is the DJ. How are you going, DJ?
I'm going good. Surviving through the corona craziness. It's getting worse and worse by the minute.
It's not that coronavirus is getting worse. It's that people's reactions are. Because people are starting to take it more seriously.
Yeah, to the point where so many events are getting cancelled.
Yeah, it's not that people weren't taking it seriously before. They were still going out and being idiots and buying all the toilet paper. But now more people are doing that.
Yeah, which is even worse.
Events are shutting down, which is sensible.
Yeah.
Because the best way to stop the spread is to stop people getting in contact with each other.
Yeah, E3 was the biggest one this week, hey?
Yeah, E3's now being cancelled.
Can you believe it? You and I called it the other day.
I honestly don't think there was anyone who didn't call it.
Yeah.
I was seeing discussion about this a couple of weeks ago when GDC was cancelled. It's the right thing to do, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Then even today, Tom Hanks has been tested positive for coronavirus. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
But he's in good spirits, so...
Yeah, well, it's not like a huge risk if you're fairly young. Tom Hanks is starting to get a bit old and is probably in one of the higher risk groups, but it's not a huge risk unless you already have a respiratory illness or you're over 60.
Yeah.
But it's important to not go and spread it because you don't want everyone to get it and carry it to the people who are vulnerable.
Did you hear about the news today with the guy who got tested positive for coronavirus and he goes to a nightclub?
Yeah.
I was like, why?
Aren't you glad you don't have a life so you're not exposed to that, DJ?
And then apparently I heard another story where another guy got tested positive and he went to a rugby game.
That's some big brain logic there. Anyway, our first topic this week is about a new overlapping coding sequence in human DNA. I didn't know this was a thing until this article came out. Apparently it's been known for a long time, but the scientists have been investigating a new overlapping coding sequence in the POLG gene, which is on chromosome 15 and encodes polymerase Y. I think the Y they're using is a Greek letter, but I don't recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
So polymerase Y is responsible for replication and repair of mitochondrial DNA. And mutations in POLG are the most common single gene causes of mitochondrial diseases. So what it turns out is that when they're reading DNA, they read this one section as POLG, but POLG starts at point A and finishes at point B. Then there's points in between that also code for different genes. So you read from inside POLG or from inside POLG out to another section and get an entirely different gene, which I had no idea was a thing.
Yeah. I mean, the DNA coding sequences and genome are constantly evolving, and this is an interesting evolution, to put it mildly.
And I imagine it's more important in bacteria and viruses because they're already dealing with a limited code length. So part of what adaptation to antibiotics does for bacteria is cause it to lose resistance to another set of antibiotics or to another treatment because the bacteria evolves to code for defense against, say, penicillin class antibiotics. But there's not enough DNA in a bacterium for it to code for penicillin class and another class at the same time. So antibiotics resistance is also a bit of a working around to make use the most effective antibiotic until it becomes ineffective, then switching over to another.
Yeah.
Which is good news for antibiotic resistance, which is a big issue. But hopefully, eventually we'll have enough classes of antibiotic that it's not really an issue anymore.
Yeah, I also like the emphasis on the mitochondrial DNA in this report.
Yeah. So as I said, this POLG that they're investigating is responsible for a lot of mitochondrial diseases. So I don't know what implication the overlapping DNA will have on preventing mitochondrial diseases or treating them, but Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, and just reading through some of the discussion, and some were saying that given the POLG mutations are most prevalent single gene causes of mitochondrial diseases, and there is a lack of any evidence-based therapies, understanding translational dynamics of its mRNA is important. Yep. In addition, mutations in POLG has been implicated in Parkinsonism-related symptoms and potentially accelerated aging.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So in things like these, we can understand how diseases can work in terms of cycles. And what else do they say in the discussion? All known complete human transcripts of POLG they include ORF-Y. Also include several splice junctions, so there's a lot of scientific jargon.
Yeah, it's a very dense paper.
Yeah, a very, very dense paper. But the conclusions they've come up with this one is basically there's only a handful of known dual coding regions in the human genome that have such length and maintain both ORFs in different reading frames for the length of each ORF. They're interesting due to the clinical prevalence of POLG.
Here we go. So the character they're using is gamma. So it's polymerase gamma.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that because they're using lowercase gamma.
Although I will say this might be an interesting aspect of the human genome code that could be further researched on.
Yeah. I wonder what if there's anything that's coded for in an overlapping region but isn't actually produced. Like some vestigial DNA feature that would probably cause wacky mutations if you turned it on. But
can you imagine the mutations that be coming out? Oh dear Lord!
Yeah, have you ever seen that fly with eyes where its legs should be?
Oh no!
That's the sort of thing that happens when you play with DNA.
I did recall the mouse with the ear.
That was, I think, surgical. They implanted a frame for an ear on the mouse to grow tissue on it.
Here we go. The Vacanti mouse. It's called. That mouse just looks freaky looking.
It does, but yeah. So that was cow-shaped cow cartilage shaped into an ear shape and implanted under the skin of the mouse with an external ear-shaped splint to maintain the shape. So it's a cool trick, but it's not really playing with DNA.
Okay.
Yeah, it's useful for like transplants and stuff.
Yeah, they've also talking about the animals that have the POLG sequence containing a conserved CUG codon. So except for Camelus ferus, which is the camel, 3 marsupial species, the Wombatus ursinus, the Phascolatos cineris, which is the koala, Monodelphius domestica, the opossum, a 4th marsupial species, the Sarcophilus harisi. The Tasmanian devil has a CUG codon in the correct frame, but the surrounding sequence is dissimilar to all other mammals.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the implications of that are, but it's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
So our next topic for tonight is the Australian Parliamentary Committee recommending loot box regulation. So loot boxes have been in all the news for the last couple of years, and a couple of countries, Belgium, China, a handful of others have brought in regulation about it.
Yeah.
But the Parliamentary Committee who produced the Protecting the Age of Innocence report are now recommending loot box regulation and age verification for purchases towards simulated gambling in games.
Gotta love it when they make those, when they make the title of the reports to sound cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, the title of it is basically Think of the Children.
Yeah.
But I think it's a big issue. It's an example of where a free market has failed to self-regulate, so the government has to step in because they're just taking advantage of people. Do
you reckon it's scary, though? I mean, I might have said this before in a couple of episodes earlier on. Like, do you really want the government to step into the games industry at this point?
I don't want them to, but sometimes they have to.
Yeah.
If the industry won't do what it should, the government has to come in and tell them to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a shame that the industry that's supposed to police itself slips up like this, and now you get government coming in and implementing these harsh rules.
Are they harsh though? I don't think they've recommended particular rules other than age verification.
Yeah, what are the other ones? They've also developed a new standard for online age verification.
Which, I'll be impressed if it works.
I mean,
basically, the only way to do age verification is to get someone to send you their ID.
I mean, people. That's the thing, though, because people lie on age verifications. Like,
yeah,
like people will go like, "Are you actually 18?" Do you reckon the kid's gonna be honest enough to do it though?
No, they're not. But it does give the. It's basically a warning to the developers: stop targeting kids with your microtransactions because you're taking advantage of the children. And this is a way that if there's a kids game targeting kids with microtransactions, the government can now bring this up and say, you're not taking reasonable steps to not take advantage of children here. That's basically the point of this. It's not enforceable. It's not like they can do age verification, but it's probably not enforceable that way. But what is enforceable is whether the company is trying to take advantage of kids by doing it. So microtransactions in a Disney game, like Disney Infinity, targeted at kids, obviously. The government can say that's not okay. Microtransactions in Mortal Kombat, obviously not targeted at kids. Kids are going to get their hands on Mortal Kombat anyway, because parents are awful at reading the ESRB and PEGI ratings, but that's what happens. Kids get their hands on things they shouldn't. All you can do is make it less appealing for the kids to get their hands on. It's the same as it's partially the same as hiding the cigarettes in the checkout.
Oh yeah. With the plain
theory
packaging.
the theory behind the plain packaging and single color is that the bright colors aren't appealing to children anymore, and it works. The rate of smoking has dropped since then.
Speaking of games and bright colors, how funny was last year with the NBA game that got a lot of flack for all the loot boxes and the gambling involved in that game.
Yeah, and now Dead or Alive is doing it.
Oh yeah, with the whole pay $1 for...
Yeah, pay $1 to change the color of your hair. So now it's not even pay a couple of bucks to buy a costume like in most other games. It's pay $1 to change the color of your hair. That's just extortive. I'm not a fan of that.
Oh, that was scummy when they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you reckon all of these recommendations will pass through?
Not all of them. The government is awful at taking recommendations, even from their own committees. Like, there was a Senate inquiry into the video game industry funding a few years ago. Nothing happened. The Senate came out, like, years ago there was funding for the games industry. It got shut down. The Senate did a review and said, actually, that was a bad idea. Check this out. It's a hugely economically beneficial. And the government was just like, so what? Who cares?
Yeah, some of the bits are interesting as well. It also says evidence shows young people are often exposed to online gambling by their parents or guardians, and calls for more resources to be put towards raising awareness about the risks and harms on online gambling, as well as how parents can create safer online environments for their children.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, I agree that it has to be more resources, but I think the onus has to go to the parents and the kids. Like, it comes down to personal responsibility in the end.
It should, but having it on the parents doesn't stop the companies from taking advantage of vulnerable people. That's what this is about, protecting the vulnerable.
Yeah. I've got a question to ask you though. From as a game developer, whenever you see news like this, do you ever go like, it makes it even harder to create a game at times?
Sometimes, but there's a lot of things that game developers work within the boundaries of anyway. So, classification. A game that's rated 18 plus sells, even a movie rated 18 plus sells a lot less than a movie or game rated even M or M15. So you're already working within the limits there. It's just another thing to keep an eye on. But unfortunately, this inquiry doesn't actually recommend further action. Sorry, actually, I'm looking at a different inquiry. So this article's a bit ambiguous. Just a second.
Basically, other members of the inquiry are not. They don't want further action.
Yes, there's been a couple of inquiries over the last few years.
Yeah. And I like it how it's to support the argument for it. They use the UK's call for loot boxes, and we all know how that panned out.
How did it go?
No response. And remember when EA was called up for that one?
So the UK had these recommendations but didn't actually take action.
No, like they said, there should be a ban, and nothing else happened.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's government for you. You can hit them in the face and tell them all the things that are supposed to happen and what makes them good, but the government doesn't listen.
Yeah. Although the UK's inquiry was pretty hilarious. Remember the EA debacle?
Battlefront 2.
The whole surprise mechanisms.
A sense of pride and accomplishment. I was watching some old documentary or something, and it had that phrase in it. I can't even take that seriously anymore. Thanks, EA.
It wasn't as bad. It was not as bad as the following statement from another EA person that said, "Oh, it's like baseball cards."
Yeah.
I mean, that was the beautiful part about this whole inquiry with the loot boxes. I know, as stupid as it sounds, it does open the eyes to a lot of gamers and game developers and to a lot of gaming fans going, yeah, these companies don't really care about us. They just want money.
Well, one, no shit. Two, yeah, it's I hope that things like this will help people. It will help raise awareness so people know to go with companies that respect them. Like, I hope that look, if I end up working for any big game development companies one day, I'll probably have to go with loot boxes, but I'd like to think that at least as an indie, I can do what I can to make sure my monetization is respectful of the player.
Yeah.
And if I ever do make an indie game full of loot boxes and crap, someone please take that out of context and wrap it around a bat and come and hit me with it. I mean, not take it out of context, but, just print it out and come and send me daily letters with it. Just remind me that I've become a horrible person.
It's like, you're a sellout. You sold out.
Make sure I know it. Yes, make sure I know I'm a sellout. If I ever sell out, make sure I know it. Don't let me live it down. But speaking of sellouts, our next topic is about yet another remake.
Oh, but this is no ordinary remake, though.
Or is it? Dun, dun, dun. What is this remake, DJ?
Oh. So, we're getting a new Mrs Doubtfire, but here's the but in this. It won't be in any streaming series. It won't be a movie. It will be a Broadway musical stage.
Do you mean a Broadway stage musical?
Yeah. Well, it says musical stage production, but...
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so the person that's going to be playing as Mrs Doubtfire is going to be played by Robin McClure, who has originally played as Beetlejuice, the musical, as the role of Adam. And he won the 2013 Tony Award for his performance in the title role of the musical Chaplin. So the first pictures have been are out, and they look very different to the old Mrs Doubtfire.
I mean, they've got the costume right for the Robin Williams version.
Yeah. What do you think of the new one, though?
It's obviously not Robin Williams, but they've got 30 years of extra practice with prosthetics.
Yeah.
Which this article actually talks about. Apparently, they've basically got a racing pit crew backstage so that they can give him a full makeover within 18 seconds.
That will be amazing if that works.
Yeah, it's if they do the entire thing with just the one actor playing Mrs Doubtfire and the guy, then they've got to do the changes in real time, which that would be interesting to see, just to watch the crew do the makeover.
He's like, get the wig, get the makeup,
Yeah,
get the body enhancements.
because they can't, the actor says that they can't take 5 hours between takes while they change costumes.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this: bravo, McClure. You have taken a very, very big challenge. Imagine, like, in that costumes under big spotlights. That must be
Yeah, stage lights are not fun.
yeah, hot and sweating, and in front of people as well. That must be even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also this stage production will also feature a book by Kerry Kirkpatrick and John O'Farrell. And this will be this is interesting how it's a remake, but it's not a remake of sorts.
How is it not a remake?
Well, you don't see Disney going, all right, we're gonna change the bits and pieces of the scene.
All right. So you think it's going to be more faithful than more recent remakes?
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, it's not hard to do a better remake than The Lion King, but hopefully this is it.
Yeah.
If it's a musical, there is going to be dancing.
Oh, yeah. So, that's going to hamper
they
that.
They don't just have to do a makeover. They have to do a makeover that can hold up to dancing.
The makeup is going to be tough on him as well during that stage.
Yeah, I don't know if it. I really don't know how if it makes it harder or easier, but stage makeup tends to be really thick and heavy because they're just trying to even it all out because you're going to be under the lights.
Yeah, can you imagine after the whole performance, Rob McClure gets out of the costume and goes, "All right, I need a Sestrin hit."
Right, what does Sestrin do?
It charges up the body. It's like boosts up the body again.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that a couple of months ago, didn't we?
Yep.
I like the comments on this article though. A bunch of people whinging about how it doesn't look exactly like Robin. I don't know. I think this is just a promo pic. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
How dare they disrespect his memory? Look, this isn't the first time a movie has been remade after the lead actor died.
Yeah, that's true. Sure. There's another promo pic of the whole family, and I don't know. I don't know. I really can't see it.
I think it'll look fine on stage. It probably looks a bit uncanny valley because it's a promo pic. He's got heavy makeup and prosthetics. But when you're looking at it moving and on stage, it'll look better.
Yeah.
So what have you been playing this week, DJ?
I've been playing Walking Simulator. And yes, that is actually a game that came out.
I'm aware that it's a genre made famous by games like DRS and Gone Home. But now that they've actually got a game called Walking Simulator, how is it?
It's basically Death Stranding, but without the Kojima works.
So no creepy baby, no ghost things.
No ghost things, no stupid stories. There are certain elements of Death Stranding you see in this game as well, like the whole carrying everything on your backpack.
Yeah, it looks a bit Goat Simulator-ish.
Yeah.
Looking at the trailer, that's it's got a lot of wacky physics.
Yeah. Also it operates on the in-game currency for this game is basically how many likes you can get.
Okay then.
Yeah, you get more likes by collecting parcels while walking to a certain distance, and with the number of likes accumulated as well, you can gather some gadgets like, for example, a rocket pack, a snowmobile, and a truck.
I was going to ask, considering this is free to play, is it worth getting over Death Stranding? Death Stranding on PC is $100 flippin' bucks.
See, but like I said, this is without the Kojima craziness.
Yeah, like I get that games are more expensive to make now, and the price hasn't kept up with the cost to make it. But $100 flipping bucks for a game that's already been out for over a year.
But and the other crazy thing with Death Stranding, in general, the amount of hype that came after the game was released was just like nothing happened. Nothing. Like you don't hear an ad, you don't hear a promo. It was just after the game, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, like no hype whatsoever. No, it was like, wow, Kojima's game was awesome. This should be a award-winning game and stuff. But nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the sort of thing that I don't know if Death Stranding has a wide enough appeal to be Game of the Year.
Yeah.
But I might give this other one a look just because it's cheaper and it's looks silly.
Yeah. And by the way, the plot's even the plot's even hilarious for the walking simulator.
What is the plot?
The year is 2020. World War III and the coronavirus destroyed the civilized world. You are the last post carrier tasked to get parcels from point A to point B in the most barren and desolate places on Earth.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you're in the Himalayas or something, so...
It's Antarctica.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other elements of Death Stranding that they have is the scavengers as well that would that would hinder your path, basically.
I see one of the screenshots is a guy with like a double-ended lightsaber.
Yeah. I'm surprised Kojima has not seen this. It just went, hello, lawsuit.
Well, I've been playing Black Mesa.
Oh, nice.
I reckon it's the best remake ever made.
How many years production has this game been in for, though?
About 15.
So 15 years in the making, and you finally get it.
Yeah, but it's so absolutely loving the amount of effort they put into it. So I spent 15 years or so working on a remake of Half-Life from 1998, and they put so much attention into it. It's there's only a couple of issues that I've had with it, a couple of game-breaking bugs. One, I had a AI get stuck on a wall when he was supposed to be walking to the door to open it for me. Another, I fell through a lift as it was going up. And the last game-breaking bug I've had is a section of Zen where you have to jump across a gap. Well, I jumped the gap, missed the other side. It auto-saves with me in midair, and I got stuck in a loop because it overwrote my auto-saves, and I realized I hadn't saved in a few hours. Luckily, I could restart at the beginning of the chapter, but that wasn't fun. But apart from that, it's so... I don't know how to describe it. It's so good.
So are there any changes to the overall Half-Life plot?
No, it's still got all the same story beats. They cut out like 90% of on a rail. It used to be that you'd spend like an hour going around on a train, but now it's about 10 minutes. They also shortened surface tension, which were the two chapters that people thought were the weakest in the original game. But some people have gone and made mods to add it back in.
How's the creature design for this game? Better or...
Like, it's all incredibly faithful to the original design, but it's so... They've had to go and, obviously they've had to make changes because things you can get away with in 640 by 480 don't work in HD graphics. But they've, everything makes sense, all the little additions, like even things that you wouldn't notice normally. Like, hound eyes now have a beak under their body where they eat, and that's just, it's so well put together.
Yeah.
So I reckon I'm most of the way through Zen. I probably don't have too far to go, and I'll wrap it up this weekend. But
so the biggest flaws for you is the AI and the...
No, the AI is generally good. This case, it was a scripted sequence that failed.
Yeah.
The other issue is that, I fell through the floor of the lift. Actually, that's happened twice to me now. So lifts are a bit buggy. But it's been a long time since I've played anything made with so much passion.
And after 15 years, it's worth it.
Yeah. And I think if you've never played Half-Life, you should play Black Mesa. Because even if it's a remake, but it still feels like a game that could have been released in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Could you actually see Black Mesa have a sequel?
Yeah, I reckon it could. it'll take about 8 years to release, and they'll call it Half-Life 2. I wouldn't hold out hope for another Half-Life remake just because this took so long, and Half-Life 2 still holds up pretty well today. It holds up a lot better than Half-Life 1 does.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that now this is out, the teams working on the Blue Shift and Opposing Force remakes are able to take some inspiration from it, or I don't know if the licensing allows them to use the use assets from Black Mesa.
Yeah.
But I hope that they can get their work out as well.
So how many nerdy beanies would you give Black Mesa out of?
10 out of 5.
Oh, hey, that's a big score.
Yep.
10 out of 5. My one, I would give it a 4 out of 5, just to, because it's better than Death Stranding, and I don't know, and it's not as trippy as.
It's better than Death Stranding, do you think?
Yeah.
Even though it's a joke game.
Yep.
Okay,
hey,
then.
it's good. Hey, I just loved Walking Simulator. It was fun. It had chill music and no
you can go outside
stuff.
and get exactly the same experience. If you get hit by a car, you will even ping off into the distance, just like the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, there's one thing. A couple of graphics options were disabled for the full release.
Mm-hmm.
The main one is the weapon grime system. So things can splatter onto your gun and get washed off when you dive into water.
Oh, nice.
Well, that got cut out because apparently it was causing FPS issues for some people.
Ah.
But you can re-enable it through the the console. So I recommend doing that because it's just a really nice effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I haven't played Black Mesa since the early access version back in 2015, when the website, the torrent tracker, and other people's websites rehosting it all crashed.
Ah.
Yeah, it was so popular that everything crashed. But
at least with Black Mesa, it delivered. It had it delivered after 15 years of making it, and you're liking it. And
yeah.
And I'm hoping, and it's better than what's happening with StarCon.
Yeah, well, anyway, I didn't really notice any FPS issues, and I played on a laptop, like a fairly high-end laptop, but it was a few years old at the time. I got the laptop in 2012, and it only had an integrated graphics card. I don't remember having too many graphics issues, even with the weapon grime on. So I think try turning it on. If it doesn't work, you can turn it off.
Yeah.
So, on to our shout-outs for this week. On the 7th of March, El Pomerantz passed away. He was an Emmy-winning television writer who wrote for The Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Bob Newhart Show, Rhonda... Sorry, is that Rhonda or Rhoda? Rhoda, okay. The Tony Randall Show, Phyllis, Taxi, Cheers, and The Cosby Show. He was creator and executive producer on Major Dad and Best of the West. He won 2 Emmys, one in '76 for writing on the Lily Tomlin special, and one in 1985 for The Cosby Show. In his final blog post, he expressed gratitude towards his audience. He died at the age of 75. On the 8th of March, Max von Sydow passed away. He was the actor who starred in Seventh Seal and The Exorcist. He studied at the Royal Dramatic Theatre. So he was, his career lasted more than 6 decades. He was in June, The Exorcist as the priest, Hannah and Her Sisters. He earned 2 Oscar nominations. Best Actor nod in 1989 for Pele the Conqueror. Best Supporting Actor in 2012 for Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. He was also in Flash Gordon and The Force Awakens.
And the Three-Eyed Raven in Game of Thrones.
He was in everything.
Oh, he's a legend. He's a legend.
I want to know who he was in June, because I don't recognize him from that.
Dr. Kynes.
Oh, yes. That's it.
Yeah, Liet Kynes.
Yeah. I recognize that face now. So he died at 90. On the 9th of March 2020, the World Record Smurf Gathering was held in France. 3,500 people smashed the record set last year in Germany. And apparently they only just got it in before France banned gatherings of more than 1,000 people due to coronavirus.
It'll be broken.
Yeah, like give it another year, someone's going to beat the record again, because they've been going backwards and forwards for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I like some of the quotes they've said here, like, we figured we won't worry, and that as French people, we won't give up on our attempt to break the record. That's one person saying it. Another one saying, "Now we're the champions of the world. There's no risk. There's no risk. We're Smurfs."
I like this one though. We're going to Smurferize the coronavirus. Yeah, sure. I'm sure that'll be great when you're smurfing your lungs up, but people are gonna have fun.
Oh yeah.
I just hope that no one there had coronavirus.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yeah. So on the 10th of March 1982, as a remembrance, Minoru Shirota, the Japanese microbiologist. So in the 1920s, he identified a strain of lactic acid bacteria called Lactobacillus cassia shirota. It was later reclassified as Lactobacillus paracasei shirota. He founded the company Yakult Honsha in 1935 to sell Yakult beverages containing Lactobacillus shirota. He died at 82 in Tokyo.
From dysentery.
Yeah, which, that's what happens when your gut bacteria is messed up, so...
It kind of feels like an ironic death.
It kind of is.
It's like, in a weird sense of irony, he died from dysentery.
Yeah, here's the article. So, on Wikipedia says that in 2006, a panel found sufficient evidence to justify claims that drinking at least one bottle of Yakult per day might help improve bowel movements for people who tend to be constipated and might help maintain a healthy population of gut flora.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I hope it actually works. But
although it's funny how, like, even later on they're still trying to figure out that Yakult is a fake drink even after all these years.
Yeah, so I can see here that in 2013 they had an advertisement banned in the UK because they didn't provide a specific referenced claim of health benefits.
Kind of reminds me of that Ribena discovery.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty funny when that came out.
Yeah, they claimed that they had high vitamin C levels, but when they got around to actually testing it, they don't.
It was also by a couple of school students, if I recall.
Yeah. Yeah, being shown up by some teenagers.
Yeah, here we go. The admitted to 15 charges of misleading advertising between 2002 and 2006 in a suit filed by the Commerce Commission, a consumer watchdog, after a 2004 school science project.
Oops.
I can imagine, like, Ribena going, and I would have gotten away with those meddling kids.
So, on the 10th of March 2012, F. Sherwood Rowland, the American Nobel laureate and professor of chemistry, died at 84 in California. So, Rowland theorized that man-made organic compound gases combine with radiation and decompose in the stratosphere, releasing atoms of chlorine and carbon monoxide that are individually able to destroy large numbers of ozone molecules. In short, CFCs are bad.
That's true.
Yeah, so this was the research that led to the banning of CFCs, which now the ozone is actually mostly recovered, I believe.
Yeah.
And on the same day, Burt R. Balkin, the American aeronautical engineer, who was best known for his role in building the Hubble telescope.
I like his I like his description of the event when the telescope was launched. It's like watching your mother-in-law go over a cliff in your brand new Cadillac.
Yeah, it must be hard to hand over such a precision piece of engineering to someone who's going to accelerate it at like 17 Gs, I think, throw it around and launch it into space. And I like that when they asked him what they hoped to see with it, he said, God. I think they're still looking, but that would be pretty creepy, actually. You know, in cartoons when someone's looking through binoculars and then someone pops up at the end and you just see eyeballs?
Yep.
Imagine like the first image from the Hubble comes back. It's just an eyeball. He died at 82 in California on the 10th of March, 1923. Val Logsdon Fitch.
Yeah.
He was an American nuclear physicist who, with James Cronin, was awarded the 1980 Nobel Prize in Physics for an experiment using the alternating gradient synchrotron at Brookhaven National Laboratory that proved that certain subatomic reactions did not adhere to the fundamental symmetry principles.
Hey, it's pretty good.
I like all this jargon here. He proved by examining the decay of K Mesa that a reaction run in reverse does not retrace the path of the original reaction. This demolished the faith that physicists have in symmetry. And he participated in the drop testing of mock atomic bombs and worked at the Trinity site, where he witnessed the Trinity test in 1945. He was born in Merriman, Nebraska. And on the 10th of March, 1940, we have Chuck Norris. Carlos Ray Norris, the American martial artist, actor, film producer, and screenwriter, who was in the US Air Force and founded his own discipline, Chun Kuk Do. He is a black belt in Tang Soo Do, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Judo.
A lot of people would remember Chuck Norris from not only from his works with Bruce Lee in the movie The Way of the Dragon, but also in Walker, Texas Ranger. His last film that he made was, up to date, was The Expendables 2. To others, he was also famous for the Chuck Norris Facts, which became an internet meme documenting humorous, fictional, and often absurd feats of strength and endurance.
Yeah, and you know what? You know who was so terrified of Chuck Norris he killed himself?
The Cobra?
Hitler. Hitler killed himself 11 days before Chuck Norris was born, I believe, is the how the meme goes. Actually, no, that doesn't make any sense. The meme makes no sense, DJ. How could Hitler have killed himself in 1940? Okay, so Chuck Norris was 5 years old, and Hitler saw him and was like, nope. That must be the meme. I must be remembering it wrong. It's been a long time.
Some of these facts are amazing, though. I mean, there was one personal favorite is the Cobra, that was in the Expendables. So the line goes, "I heard a rumor that you were bitten by King Cobra," which Chuck Norris responds, "Yeah, I was." And he added, "But after 5 days of agonizing pain, the Cobra died."
It's nice that they included a little nod to that in the movie.
Yeah.
So on the 10th of March, 1949, Bill Buxton was born. He was a Canadian computer scientist and designer. So he is currently a principal researcher at Microsoft Research, and he's known for being a pioneer in human-computer interaction. He pioneered multi-touch interfaces and music composition tools in the late 1970s. So multi-touch didn't really hit the civilian world until the mid-2000s. That's how far ahead this guy was.
Yeah.
On the 10th of March, 1956, Robert Llewellyn was born. He's famous for playing Crichton in Red Dwarf.
Yeah. His involvement with it was after his appearance at Edinburgh Festival Fringe, where he performed in the comedy.
That's interesting, actually. His comedy that he got picked up from was Robot Born of Mammon, Robot Born of Woman, a comedy show about a robot who becomes more human and behaves increasingly badly, which is Crichton.
It reminds me of that Red Dwarf episode as well.
Yeah, that's the one where he becomes human.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like his the whole how he got into Crichton suit. Whereas like in the early days, Red Dwarf, he would arrive doing makeup many hours before the rest of the actors. And he said, as time progressed with fellow actors, having a little bit more help with the makeup department than they used to. And also Llewellyn mentioned that he would need a special pair of glasses to be able to read the script with the Crichton mask on.
Well, Rimmer and Lister aren't as young as they used to be.
No. Oh, crazy thing though. When Red Dwarf first came back after a long hiatus, one of the guys did an interview with Lister, and surprisingly, the jacket still fits Lister after all these years.
Which hiatus though?
The first hiatus, the one that came back after the Back to the Earth specials.
Wasn't there one before that too? There was like one in the early like the original run of it. They had a break of a year or something because Lister was falsely accused and spent a while in jail.
Oh yeah, that was another. Yeah, no, that was afterwards.
Okay.
So Red Dwarf X was the one that
No, here we go. So Series 1 and 2 were 1988. Series 3 was 1989. Then there was a gap till 1991, until 1993. Then another gap till 1997. Another gap 1999. Another gap 2009. Another one 2012. Another one to 2016 and 2017. And then they've just announced the other day, the Promised Land. Will they finally reach Fujo?
Oh, that would be funny. Was it Fujo?
I think they called it Fujo. It's the cat's mythology. Their god Lister will come to take them back to Fujo.
There we go. I found the interview.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of breaks, but they're back again.
I can't wait for the new season.
Yes, I hope it's good.
Yeah. And also to continue on with Llewellyn, in Red Dwarf, he worked hard to get the more technically difficult lines right because the show tried to be factually accurate in reference to the scientific theories.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was also the only British cast member originally to participate in the American version of Red Dwarf.
Yes, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, that was a very terrible pilot episode.
Oh, the whole thing was awful.
Oh, tell me about it.
So, the events of interest for this week. On the 10th of March, 241 BC, the Battle of the Agates. The Romans sank the Carthaginian fleet, ending the First Punic War. So, off the western coast of Sicily, there was in the islands of the Agates, the Roman army had borrowed money to build a naval fleet because they were almost bankrupt and extended a blockade to the sea. The Carthaginians assembled a larger fleet, and then the Romans still beat them because they were undermanned and ill-trained Carthaginians. On the 10th of March, 1972, Silent Running came out. This was an environmental-themed American post-apocalyptic science fiction film. I haven't seen it, but DJ tells me it's
it's a nice film to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, send an interesting link. So it's about a botanist being given orders to destroy the last of Earth's botany. Well, the actor Bruce Dern, who plays the botanist in the film, has a daughter, Laura Dern, known for playing a paleobotanist in Jurassic Park.
And this movie inspired Mystery Science Theater 3000.
As a whole, or was it a Mystery Science Theater episode?
As a whole.
Okay.
Yeah. As Joel Hodgson, creator of Mystery Science Theater 3000, credits Silent Running as a major inspiration for his show.
Okay.
And this was Douglas Turnbull's first film, and he did not know how to direct.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at the reception section on Wikipedia. I might just be thinking that because it inspired MST3K that it's a classic, but it doesn't sound very good. So on the 10th of March 2000, the Nasdaq Composite Stock Market Index peaked at 5,132.52, signaling the beginning of the end of the dot-com boom, the time when you could make money by just including the word internet in your business plan. Unfortunately, the internet didn't quite work out the way they thought it would, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's all we have for this week. So, DJ, where can they find us?
They can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Most of the details will be on our show notes. They can also find us on that'snotcanon.com, where we have an archive of our old episodes and merchandise. And
you can check out the other That's Not Canon podcast. Do you have any recommendations, DJ?
Lancing with Myself.
Yes, we mentioned that one last week. Have you listened to it?
I have been listening to it on and off. But it's good to talk to listen to my games development from a different set of eyes.
Yeah, honestly, I probably spend more time listening to podcasts about game development from TNC than I do actually game developing in an average week.
Yeah,
I've had a couple come and go.
Yeah, you've got a podcast as well that you recommend?
Well, I've been listening to Scared Shitless.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a fairly new one, but it's about horrifying things by a guy who was terrified of horrifying things. So some of his recent episodes are about exorcisms. Albert Fish, who is a cannibal, and I actually haven't listened to that one yet, but I'm hoping they've got a reading of the Albert Fish letter, because he wrote this. I won't go into detail here because this is not the place, but he wrote this really horrifying letter to the family of one of his victims.
I should have a look at it, actually.
Yes, it's good. But that's all we have for this week. So stay hydrated and look after yourselves. And don't get coronavirus.
See you next week. See you guys.
Is that it? Come on, enthusiasm.
See you guys.
Enthusiasm.